Hi, I'm Becky Simpson. I'm the 4-H Youth Specialist for Daviess, Gentry, and Harrison counties, and it's my privilege and opportunity to welcome you to 4-H camp a little different way. Today we're going to be talking about how to make a boat out of soap. But there's some special things we want to talk about first. Did you know that they were making soap, bars of soap, back in the 1800s? Ivory soap is a special kind of soap. Ivory soap is a soap that, well, it floats. Not every bar of soap that you get floats. This is a brand called Dial, and I will show you what Dial does when I put it in my water here. It sinks. Interesting. We're going to find out in just a minute why it sinks, because watch the Ivory soap. It floats. Now, you might say, well, those bars of soap can't weigh the same amount. Yeah, actually they do. They both weigh the exact same amount. And the reason that's important to know that is because what's different about the Ivory soap is that back in 1890, there was a gentleman making Ivory soap. It was his job to mix it up. Well, he put all of the ingredients in a mixer, and he walked off and went to lunch. And he forgot that he was still had his soap running. He comes back from lunch, and the size of his mixture has more than doubled. Well, wonder what he did and why it did that. Well, I'll tell you what happened. He was whipping air into the soap mixture. And because of that, there is so much air in Ivory soap, people were excited because, well, if you're taking a bath and you drop your regular soap, it drops like a rock to the bottom of the bathtub. The Ivory soap floats right back to the top, so you don't have to hold on to your soap the entire time you're taking a bath. What I want to show you, though, is that I took a bar of Ivory soap and I broke it in half. And you're probably going to have a hard time seeing it, but I'm going to show you. That's what Ivory soap looks like on the inside when you break it apart. It looks like, if you look really, really close, there's little pockets in there. Now, that Dial soap that I just threw in there, it looks completely different. Completely different. It doesn't have those little pockets of air. The other part that's important about that is everything in life, absolutely everything is made up of molecules. And I know that's a big word for some people, but we're all made up of molecules. I'm made up of molecules, you're made up of molecules. And this soap, it's made up of molecules. This plastic spoon, it's made up of molecules. Why it's important, or whether or not it floats or sinks or not, depends on how close together those molecules are. And because Ivory soap's molecules are farther apart, because there's air in there, that's what makes the Ivory soap float. But if I were to put, I have a knife kind of thing here, its molecules are really close together, making it more dense than what the water is. Let's see what happens. Drop like a rock to the bottom. And that's what we would expect it to do. If I were to put a pencil in there, oh, it floats, because the molecules in wood are farther apart. So it allows things to float. Now, what you've all been waiting for. We are going to make boats that we know are going to float in there because we know Ivory soap floats. We're going to make boats out of your Ivory soap. Everybody has a bar of Ivory soap that looks something like this. If you haven't unwrapped it yet, go ahead and unwrap it. Make sure that you have a towel or a tablecloth, because this is going to get kind of messy. So I have a bar of soap that I've kind of started on already. What I did is I took a pencil that's been sharpened and I drew in the top of my Ivory soap what I think I want my boat to look like. Just so I know where I want to carve when it comes time to carve. And you will notice that it's very easy for me to take my pencil, and I'm going to get a lot of shavings. What you're probably going to have to do from time to time, turn it over and get the shavings out of your boat. I have given you a spoon. You may have a small knife at home like this. It's just a table knife or a butter knife. It's not real sharp. You can use that as well. So what I've done is I've drawn the outline of my boat, but I've also drawn here where you might sit if you're in the boat. Because if you're going to be in a boat, there's got to be a place to sit. So I've made a little hole where my person, or if I wanted to, I could even put pennies in there to see how many pennies I could put in there before the boat sinks. So right here, I'm going to scoop that out because I know that's where I want my person or my pennies to be able to sit. The cool thing about ivory soap that you need to know too, if I dig too deep and I put a hole in the bottom, that's okay, because the way ivory soap is, you can squeeze it and I can make a patch to fix my boat if I put a hole in my boat. And I'm going to continue to do that. And I want to make sure though that I don't make my hole for my seat area too big, because I need to leave a place for my mast, which is the popsicle stick that you have, and you're going to have a coffee filter for your sail. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute. But I want to make sure that I leave this place up here that I can put my mast. So I'm going to do this a little quicker. And I'm actually going to cut off the parts that I know that I don't really want. The other cool thing about ivory soap is that because it is so soft and because it is so different than other soap, if I have a rough edge, like right here, I can just take my finger and I can rub that to smooth out the edges. And if I decide I don't like this at all, well, guess what? Ivory soap's not that expensive and I could start over. But I can definitely smooth the edges out because most boats don't have really sharp edges. And so I'm going to smooth my edges. And eventually, well, this one didn't, this side I took too much off, but that's okay. It still's going to float. So eventually I'll get to the point to where I've carved out my design, whatever it may be, and I have taken my popsicle stick and I've made a place for it in the front of my boat by just sticking it in there, just so it doesn't fall out, and that's the mast of my boat. Now, you have in your possession a coffee filter. What I want you to do is I want you to fold it in half so it looks like a taco, okay? Take a pair of scissors and make a slight cut right there, and go down about, oh, I don't know, a half an inch, maybe an inch, and make another small cut so that it looks like your taco's got 2 holes in it, okay? What I want to do is this part here, I am going to put my popsicle stick through there, and I now have the mast on my boat. Now if you want to, you can fold up your coffee filter just a little bit so it doesn't touch the boat. Then we'll bring our kind of cloudy water back. And we have our boat that floats, even with the popsicle stick added to it. And even with the sail that is on it, your boat will still float. And I will tell you, carving soap, you can do lots of things when you carve soap. It doesn't just have to be a boat. You can carve all kinds. You could carve an animal out of it if you wanted to. It's soft, it's cheap, and it doesn't take a lot of utensils for you to be able to carve with it. And to recap, the things that you're going to need. You will need a bar of ivory soap. You'll need a spoon or something to carve with. You're going to need a popsicle stick. And you'll need a pair of scissors so that you can cut your sail with the coffee filter. This is Becky Simpson, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call my office. Thank you.